tell. All right, next up, we've got Cary Jones. Cary Jones went to work in a salmon cannery straight out of high school. After a couple of summers in the cannery, he got a job on a seiner. That was 1974, and he's fished nearly every summer since, chasing halibut, black cod, herring, and salmon. He is also the best 5-gallon bucket broomstick handle bass player that I know.
Good evening. Well, it's been great. We just had tamales from a little food truck right across from the Maritime Museum, and oh man, that's good stuff. No, Joel, I didn't bring you any. I didn't know you.
When the MCs heckle you? Yeah, cool.
Okay, we'll go get some right after the set. How's that? I don't know what to say while I get ready. Besides, this has been great. You're all having a good time. Yeah. What is this? You're 22. That's awesome. I love it. There's lights. Should say something, but I don't know what. So, how many commercial fishermen are there in here? Raise your show of hands. Cool. And those that have worked with them, or spouses of, worked on the docks, in fish plants, and so yeah. So a lot of you guys know what's going on. Okay. Closer. Do I get closer to it, or is that? Okay. So, all of you that do have been mariners, and those that aren't, can imagine what it's like when you're trying to sleep, bucking into the weather, airborne insomnia. Rising, falling, rising, falling, compression of the mattress, rising, falling, becoming weightless, becoming airborne, airborne insomnia, the curse, the soured part of my love affair with my bunk, with the warm, soft place that gives me rest, that restores my energy while at sea, my bunk who calls me so frequently. Why? Why do you beat me? Why do you keep me from sleep? Sleep I so desperately need. This is my chance. These few hours, they would be enough. If I could only drift off to more coffee, she asks. Warm sunlight streams across the porch. Settled in a comfy chair, a whale passing by, just outside the yard in the street. There is no coffee, no warm sunshine, no whale, awake again after the brief, weird dream, no soft voice from a woman I did not know, rising, falling, mattress pressed against my back. Thank you. Sometimes we gotta adult about things. Ancestors. Suddenly awake. The rocks are 100 yards away. I push the rudder control all the way over. As the boat heels over hard, I see a rock 100 feet away. I'm thinking, God, we could hit, but we don't hit. And we make it to Seattle with a load of halibut. My friend bought the boat from the widow of the guy who had it built. He died at sea, I think of a heart attack while they were trolling. Decades later, I'm filling it on another boat, a wooden boat that in Southeast at the end of the season, and I'm on wheel watch with a young deckhand. He said, yeah, I fell asleep too. I said, do you know what woke me up? I said, no. He said, there was a big hand on my shoulder. So I told him, I said, did you know that the guy who owns this boat, his grandfather built it and fished it, and he was killed on deck in an accident. They'll help us if we listen. Our ancestors are with us. Thank you. I remember what I'm doing. So, I work on a purse seiner, and for those who don't know, it's a long net that floats on the surface and hangs down and is stacked on the boat, and there's a skiff. When it says let her go, the skiff pulls away and stretches this net off the boat into a big arc, and I'm in the power skiff on that end of the net. The captain's out here on this end of the net, and salmon come along and hit the net and school up and go, oh, we're going the wrong way, and they kind of hang out. So when it close up, the two boats come together and hand the net off. I'm towing the main boat to keep it out of this mess. The bottom gets drawn up like a drawstring on a purse with a line that comes around the bottom. So instead of it goes from a fence-shaped curtain to a cylinder in the water, and then it goes to a bowl shape as you draw up the purse line, hence the name purse seine. And we haul it back through a power block and dump the fish on deck, and that happens like 20 times a day when we're busy. I never heard the whale song. I never heard the whale song as we set out the gear. Just a rattling sound of diesel from the skiff's John Deere. Didn't see the whale in the time before we set, but there he took a breath and was now headed for our net. Didn't feel it hit the net, didn't see the corks go down, so I was hoping that whale had gone around.
Been long enough. Close up.
Cap said,
It must have passed us by.
and as soon as we did, that whale rose up and gave us the old stink eye. He rose up real slow. Till his eye was above the drink. He glared at us for a long while. Plainly, we were the ones that stink. We opened up a space between both ends. I was towing the boat away to make that whale my friend. The crew reefed on the net. Power blocks spun like mad. Captain also wanted no regret, 'cause mending would be bad. There was a fear that he may charge and spoil everybody's day. But that cool old guy, he just stood by while we hauled to get out of his way. A young punk whale might have powered through. Most likely, a sure bet. This old guy was really cool. We didn't have to fret. It pays to work with experience, and this whale was really old school. We all know the best way is to follow the golden rule. Never saw that whale again after him giving us the eye. Kind of hoped he'd flip his tail so I could wave goodbye. Two thoughts crossed my mind. I'm glad it didn't go wrong. And I wondered, what was he saying? I never heard the whale song. Sometimes we fall down, we smash into things and hang on barely. Sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes it's cold and it seems you can't get enough clothes on. Sometimes the blowing rain and ice really hurts. Sometimes it's a challenge to make the body work right. Getting up in the morning, hands like clubs, numb and unfeeling. Sometimes the Charlie horse in the leg gets you out of your bunk and you pace the galley so ready for it to stop. Sometimes it's trying your patience to work on deck with those you have to work with. Sometimes you're pressed to keep your cool because the greenhorn doesn't think they have to do their job. Sometimes they just don't get it. Sometimes you work well together, even when you don't like each other, because, well, that's what you do as a deckhand. Sometimes it works really well, and you feel close to the person you work with on deck, closest you've felt with someone in life, at least for a while. Sometimes the big plans for a great season, end up a broker. And sometimes you don't know why you're there. Sometimes it's the greatest run in history. Then you remember. Sometimes it's the greatest place to be. So I've fished with a crew for a long time, and the captain's nephew been on there 17 years, and he decided he wanted to be home with his new baby, and the daughter that'd been there for 10 years decided to go quit fishing and be a cook on land, and the other two couple that were there decided to move on. More family than crew. You can join in on the chorus or the hum part. They were my brothers, they were my sisters, more family than crew. They've moved on now, that era's gone now, I'm left alone on the deck with the blues. It's not just fishing that brought me there, or the checks that were more than fair. They were my forever fellow crew. We knew each other's thoughts and hardly had to talk. People in my life, that's the glue. We had lots of giant hauls. The fish were wall to wall. Had our share of small ones too. You did your job so well, even when the seas were hell. I always knew I could count on you. They were my brothers, they were my sisters, more family than crew. They've moved on now, that era is gone now, I'm left alone on the deck with the blues. Cap mended with quick hands, and Diane's biscuits were so grand. I'll sure miss her laughter too. The gear was always great, thanks to the deck boss being Nate, and his singing really cleared out the blues. Antarctica calls Diane there, though we are still finding her hair. Cat's cooking on dry land for a different crew. Josh was a deck ninja with no fuss, but a move he had to bust. He's now a captain with his own crew. They were my brothers, they were my sisters, more family than crew. They've moved on now, that era's gone now, I'm left alone on the deck with the blues. Nate, hold your newborn son in your arms, away from all this harm. That is the place that you should be, to be moved by his love that comes from above, not from the fury of the sea. There'll be other crewmen there, and they'll haul the gear pretty fair. Yet they can't be as good as all of you. It was special, what we had was rare. You were deck mates extraordinaire. It won't be the same without you. They were my brothers, they were my sisters, more family than crew. They've moved on now, that era's gone now, and I'm left on the deck with the blues. They've moved on now. That era's gone now. I'm left alone on the deck with the blues. Thank you. Thank you all. So glad to come share.
Right. Once again, for Cary Jones, please. Yeah. It's not every day you get to hear music like that from a 5-gallon bucket. So.